right, are you ready to start? I, Ryan O'Grady, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of City Council member for the city of Marshall, according to the best of my ability. All right, I got two more on the box to do. One we getting lost. It's out. I state your do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state. That I will faithfully discharge the duties. Of patrol officer for the city of Marshall. According to the best of my abilities.
Yeah. Hide behind something. Yeah.
I'll call to order the Marshall City Council regular meeting for February 18th, 2025. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Wolfersberger.
Here.
Member Cheney Huggett.
Here.
Member Gates.
Here.
Member Hackworth.
Here.
Member Skibby. Member Traver.
Here.
Member Underhill.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. I will seek a motion to excuse Member Skibby from tonight's meeting. Support. Motion support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, I will ask council to stand for the invocation of Pastor Bill Cole from Maple Grove Bible Church and remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this great country that we live in. What a blessing. Meet its every challenge. Lord, we're thankful for our presidents and the memorial of them this last Monday, for all of our presidents. And these that represent that leadership, the city council, this mayor, these city council members, representing that leadership for a community. Lord, we're reminded today with a few little ones here that this is what it's all about: families, working, worshiping, living their lives as they deem best. And your blessings on these that enter into those decisions. Give them the discipline to listen tonight to each other and to constituents. Give them the words, the right words to speak, and give them the wisdom of kings. Lord, bless America. Lord, bless Marshall, our hometown. And we prayed in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Paul. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With that, we move to item 5, our approval of agenda. Tonight's agenda has public comment on agenda items, our consent agenda, presentations and recognitions. We have new police officer presentation and recognition of Officer Kylie Dickinson and Officer Drake Thompson. We then have no informational items, no public hearings, no old business reports and recommendations. We have an engineering services agreement for the public services building, heating and lighting improvements. Sorry, that was 12A. 12B, we have interconnection facilities agreement with METC. 12C is DNR trust fund grant submittal for the Riverwalk. 12D is the Cronin Foundation grant submittal for the skate park. 12E is construction inspection services agreement for Verona and West Drive construction. 13A is building official appointment. 13B is Marshall District Library Board representative appointment. 13C is Brooks Nature Area Advisory Board appointment. 13D is Airport Board appointment. And 13E is the South Neighborhood Improvement Authority appointment. We then have 14 public comment on non-agenda items, followed by 15 council and manager communications, and 16 are adjournment. I'd seek a motion regarding the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I support. Motion support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That moves us to public comment on agenda items. Persons addressing city council are required to give their name and address for the record when called upon by the mayor. Members of the public shall be limited to speaking for a maximum of 3 minutes. Comments shall address agenda items only. Public hearing items should be addressed during the public hearings portion, item 10 of the meeting agenda. Non-agenda items shall be addressed during public comment on agenda items, item 14 portion of the meeting agenda. Is there anyone wishing to address council tonight? Mr. Adams?
Back again, Barry Wayne Adams, 6.2 West Green Street. Have a bunch of police officers who just sanctimoniously took an oath of office to support and uphold the Constitution of the United States. For the Constitution of the United States, Article 6 demands a civil government. Due to a series of machinations that have occurred primarily since the Civil War, which are explained in United States Senate Report 93-549, that civil government has been undermined and displaced by a de facto corporate fascist police state administered under martial rule. And this is not just my speculation, but books have been written about it. De facto Government of the United States by Charles Wiseman. Constitution Fact or Fiction by Dr. Eugene Schroeder. And if you make an analytical assessment of the progression of the Michigan Constitutions, 1835, 1850, 1908, and 1963, you will find the mechanisms, the blueprint of how to convert a constitutional republic into a corporate fascist system of unconstitutional governance. I'm sure the police officers don't understand that they are fraudulently exercising authority, military authority. And if you do a little homework, go to like Executive Order 10834, 4 USC sections 4 and 10, Ex parte Milligan, 71 US 2, Bishop versus Vandercook, 228 Mish 299. You'll see that we have in fact been informed that we're under military law. And if you look at your own Marshall City Charter, section 2.07, it indicates that it's the obligation of the mayor to help implement the military law of the governor, as was set forth in Article 5, Section 12 of the Michigan Constitution. Now, we're supposed to have a civil government. We're constantly under a quote-unquote state of emergency. The state of emergency is never lifted, and the phrase state of emergency is a euphemism for declaration of martial law, just as an executive order is an instrumentality of military authority.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Any other, anyone else wishing to address council on agenda items tonight? Seeing none, we'll move to the, oh, I apologize.
Sorry for our tardiness. Emily Emerson Rich, 616 Union Street, Marshall. I know that I've talked to you before, Derek, about our invoice, I'll call it that, for the budget. And there's line items. Is there a time where I can ask you what some of these things are to see more detail rather than just a line item, but what it's for?
Yeah.
I mean, I know this isn't a talk back and
Well, and
forth, but
it's to address council, not the manager. He's
Yeah,
not-
well,
he's not actually
okay.
part of the manager or part of the council, but
yes. Okay, so Mr. Mayor, is there a time where I can actually see more detailed information about what a line item is or what it's?
I believe City Manager Perry has expressed in the past that if anybody wants to see anything, they email him or call him, and he'll be happy to, if it's not something that requires a FOIA request, he's happy to help.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address council on agenda items? Okay, we'll move to the consent agenda. We do have an amendment tonight. 7A is city council minutes from our work session on February 3rd, 2025, and from our regular session on February 3rd, 2025. We then have city bills, purchases on 1/31/2025 of $187,882.33. We have purchases on February 7th, 2025, $496,373.53. And then we have our January purchase, power purchase for $768,258.61 for a total of $1,452,514.51. And then in our consent agenda, we also have our school election agreements. I will seek a motion regarding the consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have support? Motion and support. It's a roll call vote, please.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member Hackworth,
Yes.
Member Traver,
Yes.
Member Underhill,
Yes.
Mayor Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Member Cheney Huggett.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
Thank you. And then presentations and recognitions, we have 8A, new police officer presentation and recognition, Officer Kylie Dickinson and Officer Drake Thompson, and Chief Lankard is going to present. Evening, Chief.
All right, Mr. Mayor and Honorable Council, we're here, every once in a while we get to come to council and kind of, present new faces that are within our department. We kind of a bit of a delay in this one, just because the process that happened. So back last year in July, we had some vacancies and we went forward for the first time within our department to sponsor candidates through the academy. And fortunately, we were able to find two great candidates that were local. Both of them are from the Marshall area. And one, actually, Mr. Thompson, Drake Thompson, actually graduated from Marshall High School. So it's great to have these quality candidates from our community. And we put them and sponsored them through the academy. And they finished the academy. They started in July, finished in December, and started out into our field training program. So this was an opportunity tonight. We've had a couple months, but it was kind of a tight council. The few council meetings had been changed and consolidated. It's been busy the last couple months. So finally got them in here to get some recognition. So I'd like them to stand up. If you guys both could stand up tonight. Like I said, they had just finished up at their FTO. If you want to stand up, just stand up here. They both finished the first phase of their FTO. So they're in their second phase right now. And seem to be doing pretty well. And I know Deputy Chief Ambrose is kind of overseeing the operations there. So I don't know if you have anything to comment on how they're doing.
Yeah, they started off on a 16-week FTO program. The first 2 weeks, our orientation just kind of getting used to policies and procedures, and then they move into 3 phases, phase 1, 2, and 3, before they complete their FTO program in a 2-week shadow phase where they're expected to do 100% of the work assigned to them or calls that come in. So far, they are doing very, very well. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're set to move on to phase 3 Sunday. So we are nearing the end, and then we can have them on their own.
And they also excelled at the academy. Kylie was on Dean's list, and Drake was on the honor roll. So they excelled in the academy and did very well. So we're very proud of them. Very proud to have them as part of our crew here. So as part of our kind of a tradition that we have, we've done the oath of honor. This tradition is primarily to kind of affirm their commitment to the community and reaffirm that their integrity and basically their commitment to the profession as well. So we are going to go through the oath of honor. So stand, raise your right hand and repeat after me. On my honor, I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity, my character, or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect
and ensure that my actions are dedicated
and ensure that my actions are dedicated
to ensuring the safety of my community
to ensuring the safety of my community
and the preservation of human life.
and the preservation of human life.
I will always have the courage to hold myself
I will always have the courage to hold myself
and others accountable for our actions.
and others accountable for our actions.
I will always maintain the highest ethical standards
I will always maintain the highest ethical standards
and uphold the values of my community
and uphold the values of my community
and agency I serve.
and the agency I serve.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to have Deputy Chief Ambrose is going to pen them with their badges. Very proud to have them as part of our department and our crew. So
On
Thank you,
behalf
guys.
of City
Appreciate it.
Council and City Marshal, thank you and welcome aboard. Can't wait to see great things.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 12A. Engineering Services Agreement, Public Service Building Heating and Lighting Improvements. And Kevin is going to present for us. We're clearing out fast.
Good evening. We have a couple of things for your consideration this evening. The first is an engineering services or professional services agreement with Abbott Marsh Bice of Kalamazoo to help us design new lighting and heating systems in the Public Services Building garage, warehouse area, as well as a new heating system in our power plant 2, where the three of the new CAT generators are housed, as well as our unit 6. I think these systems date back probably 20 years or so. And the heating system has annually failed at some point in the winter, except this year so far. So probably shouldn't have said that, but and it's difficult to get parts. Every time the folks come to take a look at it, they encourage us to be looking at some different system. So we're going to try to do that this year and have it in operation by this next winter. We did include in the capital improvement plan that's been presented to council for 2026 fiscal year for the Public Services Building, $250,000 for this project. We don't have a good firm idea right now of what to expect there, but we do have money that was included in that will be presented to you as part of the fiscal year 2026 budget. But this contract's $25,000 to get us started with the design work for those systems.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments? I know this is an area that it's been an area of concern for a while, so I think, definitely good to finally be getting started on it. And I'm sure we were actually talking about the age of some of our other buildings. So this is, I'm sure, the first of many we'll be seeing along.
Yeah.
So, that being said, and no questions asked, I will ask for a motion regarding 12A. Moved. You have to read it. I gotta read it. New rules. New council, new rules.
All right. Well, to move the professional services agreement with Auburn March Bice of
Yes.
Kalamazoo for
That's correct.
public service. Is that right? Okay. Public service burden and PowerPoint number 2, heating, ventilation, lighting systems, improvements at an estimated cost of $25,000, and the authority authorize the city manager and city clerk to sign the necessary documents.
A motion and support. This is a roll call vote, please.
Worth. Member Traver. Member Underhill.
Yes.
Mayor Wolfersberger.
Yes.
Huggett.
Yes.
Member Gates.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
Thank you. Moving to 12B, interconnection facilities agreement with METC, and
Yes.
Kevin's going to
Yes.
continue.
We have currently 2 interconnection agreements with international transmission companies, Michigan Electric Transmission Company subsidiary. And those were executed in 2010, 2016. With the construction of the new Brooks substation that was completed early last year, that created a third delivery point or interconnection with ITC's transmission system. So they contacted us and asked if we would be willing to update that agreement. They put this together. It doesn't have any financial considerations. It's really just the technical rules of what we're agreeing to, what our duties and responsibilities are, and what theirs are under this agreement. All of the rates are determined by FERC. Those are all transmission rates established by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, but they're outside of, this is the enabling agreement, so to speak.
In layman's terms, this is how our connection to the grid.
That's correct. And having the third interconnection now prompted the update of the existing interconnection agreements.
Any questions, comments, discussion?
Just wondering how the third connection benefits the grid. I mean, I assume it gives us just more resiliency and redundancy within the system.
That's a great question. It serves a number of purposes. Yes, having that additional substation there, first of all, increases the capacity of our system. we added about 66 MVA and transformer capacity, which will allow us then, as our community grows, to be able to serve that load with existing facilities. It also allows us during scheduled and unscheduled maintenance to be able to switch circuits from this, for example, Brooks Substation to Pearl Street Substation and back. So that allows us to minimize the number of customers that are out when we have either a scheduled or an unscheduled outage. So.
I move that we approve the execution of the attached interconnection facilities agreement between Michigan Electric Transmission Company LLC and the city of Marshall, and authorize city manager and city clerk to sign the necessary documents.
I support.
Motion and support. It's a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate it.
12C, DNR Trust Fund grant submittal for the Riverwalk, and Director Strange.
Good evening. What you have in front of you is a request to allow us to apply for a DNR grant to continue our work on the Riverwalk. In 2024, a large section of that Riverwalk was completed and renovated. And what we're trying to do is continue those efforts by seeking this DNR grant in the amount of $400,000 with a 50% match from the city, totaling $200,000. The reason we're going for the 50% match is because it greatly increases our chances of getting the grant instead of going for a lower amount in matching funds from the city. We will be, if council approves, we'll be submitting that application by April 1st and anticipate finding out if we get the grant in December of 2025. So if we are able to proceed, the work would be done mid to late 2026. So this amount would not completely fund all of the Riverwalk that still needs to be completed, but it would give us some additional time in that same time frame between finding out if we get this grant funding to be able to also go after some other grants to help supplement that.
Yeah, and just so mid to late means our 2026, 2027 budget year.
Yes, yes.
Any questions, comments, or discussion? Seeing none. I'll just say I'm a big fan of these grants. They help us maximize what, our buying power with our local dollars, and hopefully, as you said, with not going for a larger percentage from the state, hopefully it improves our chances. So with that, I'll seek a motion regarding 12C.
I suggest that we approve the submittal of Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant, local match of $200,000 to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. Authorize the city manager and city clerk to sign the necessary documents.
Support. Motion and support, and it's a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And 12D, Cronin Foundation grant submittal for the skate park. We're still with Director Strange.
So along the same lines, we are going after, or we'd like approval to go after another grant, this time with the Cronin Foundation. I think we're all aware that the skate park is in need of repairs. It's been quite some time before much effort was put into that park, and it really needs to be kind of wiped clean and new equipment be provided. So what we are hoping to do is we're asking for a $50,000 matching fund to go after another $50,000 from the Cronin Foundation to fund a $100,000 project for the skate park. The scope would include new ramps, removal of the existing equipment, and the fence around the park. The new equipment has a 20-year warranty, but we anticipate that with proper maintenance and that it would be able to be extended beyond that. And I think one important thing is to note that the goal is to provide a safe, all-wheeled skate park to serve our community and to attract others. We'll be submitting that grant application, if allowed, by March 1st and would know by July 1st of this year if we would receive that grant, and then we'd proceed right away with acquiring that equipment.
Awesome. Any questions, comments, or discussion?
Who's helping set that up as far as, you know, what ramps, what equipment, where it's gonna go? They kind
Yeah.
of set up the whole
So
park so it's functional.
we took a stab at it with, and I'm sorry, I should know the name of the company. We've been working with a company that we had worked with about 10 years ago to try to come up with some ideas for replacement at the skate park. And Justin Miller, director of the Parks and Rec Department, has been kind of entrenched in that for quite some time. And I think the intent is that we would bring a group together kind of fairly quickly. You know, we've got our kind of short list of people who we've already, you know are kind of committed to the park, you know, through other park activities, that we'd reach out and kind of vet a few of the options that we already have gathered so that we can do this fairly quickly. So we have a few options already available to us, and it's just a matter of trying to figure out, you know, what we can do with the funds that we have, and trying to make the biggest impact for the dollars.
Will that group come together and come up with a plan for maintenance, for checking in on it? I love the idea of the skate park. The problem is, as we all know, is that it's been in disarray for a while. And the groups will come together, they'll try to rebuild it and maintain it. So will that group then have a plan? Because I think if it's properly maintained, it's a great resource for our community. It's great to bring in for the kids. I love the idea. I would just hate to see it in 5 years look extremely used and broken and falling apart.
So I think that in the past, maybe the city has not, you know, we have not been requiring the maintenance fund that we are requiring now for these types of projects. So we would be setting aside that 10% for a maintenance fund to associate with this park. That's something that really wasn't done when this park was initiated 20 years ago, I think was the time frame. And so I think that the city would be a little more involved than it had been in the past. And we would, you know, our goals are to not just with a skate park, but with all of our parks, be more engaged in the maintenance of those parks and you know, using the funds that we have to leverage the community and, you know, help drive that committed membership, right?
I have a question. Have we reached out to the intended users, anyone at the middle school or at the high school, is it the Yackers or one of the school groups anyway? Have we reached out to see what they envision?
So I think that's going to be part of this process. We have a little bit of time here to make the decisions about what we really want out there. And I've been in touch with middle schoolers that I know spend some time out there trying to kind of rally the troops. And so there's a little bit of effort on our part to try to get the right people at the table yet. But you're right, it includes middle schoolers, high schoolers, kind of that whole range of people, plus hopefully parents that care, right? And also kind of neighborhood members in that area, right? So I know that there needs to be this kind of good mix of people. And so that's one of the reasons why, you know, we're trying to come to the table with some options so that we're not starting with a clean slate or, you know, not starting with a blank piece of paper is really the better way to say it, right? So that we have some options to kind of start with, you know, because I think we can, you know, we can all dream and dream and dream, but, you know, we're starting with some ideas from this skate company so that we kind of know how much we could afford to start with. And then we can kind of massage that solution as people provide input on what they would prefer.
Are there cameras out there now?
Not yet.
This one camera? There's not, okay.
It's hidden, very well hidden.
It might even be a good idea to put a QR code out there attached to a Google form where somebody could just put in their email address to say, hey, I want to have input, because it's a little hard to know who are the people who are using it. I mean, every time I'm out there, there's somebody on it, but I don't necessarily know who those people are. So that might
a great
just
idea.
be an easy way to capture that. The other question I had, and I can't put you on the spot because you're pretty new, but I know that some years ago we had gotten, or I heard something about that we had gotten 30,000 commitment from the Cronin Foundation toward this. And then it maybe we didn't have a match, or we were going to ask for 30,000. So I'm just wondering what happened to that 30,000, or if it was repurposed or never arrived or what.
Repurposed is probably the right way. So a couple years ago, Cronin Foundation approved, I think it was about $40,000 to move towards the skate park. We didn't have any match, obviously, to go with that, unfortunately. And at that point, then it got repurposed, and really the dollars, I think, went towards the Riverwalk at that time. So the thought is, a couple years ago, they gave us $40,000. Maybe they'll up the ante another 10 grand. We'll get $50,000. And now that the city has a special projects fund, we'll be able to do a $100,000 project. So that's the goal.
Thank you.
Can you speak, I know that it's no decisions have been made, but like, can you speak about what type of materials they're talking about for the elements?
So, I don't 100% know. I haven't really gotten into the specs of it, but it looks like it's similar to what is out there as far as like a metal frame. The boards that are the typical kind of skate park, flexible boards that you put on top, right? But yet they say they have a 20-year warranty on them,
Right.
which is pretty impressive from my perspective.
I'd say that's one of the issues we've had is, plywood and, out in the elements all year long doesn't,
Right. So I honestly, we've kind of put this together fairly quickly, but that's some of the stuff that I would be interested in learning a little bit more about.
Right.
I just don't have that answer.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or discussion?
I would move that we approve the submittal of a grant application in the amount of $50,000 to the Cronin Foundation with a city match of $50,000 for replacement of the skate park equipment, and authorize the city manager and city clerk to sign the necessary documents.
I support that.
Okay, motion and support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you so much.
If I could just add one more comment after the fact, just for staff to be thinking about moving forward, or if there's already a solution, let us know. But it's great that we have been thinking about maintenance on all of our projects moving forward. Do we have a plan, or can we start thinking of a plan, or what we do when those maintenance funds are exhausted? How do we replenish those? If they're not aware of a plan yet, but just keep that in mind as we.
The buck stops right there.
Stop there and done, close shop. So, yeah, but I know we're building it in, but at some point those funds will be used up, and then what's the plan? Thanks.
So noted. 12E, Construction Inspection Services Agreement for Verona and West Drive, and City Manager Perry.
Yes, I'm going to speak to this issue tonight. Director Davenport's on a well-deserved vacation, so, but we did want to get this project moving forward. So City Council may recall back in October, City Council approved the contract to move forward with the resurfacing of Verona and West Drive. That was in the amount of $534,000, roughly. As part of that, there was $385,000 awarded by the state to help cover that construction cost. The final piece is what we have before you tonight is to engage a engineering firm for the inspection services to make sure that the work's done as specified and as required by MDOT. They do require this as they are bringing substantial funds to the project. So the request tonight is to approve the construction inspection agreement with ENG in the amount of $98,225 with a contingency of $11,775 for a total project funded amount of $110,000. And that's our request.
Okay. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Seeing none, I will seek a motion regarding 12E.
Okay, I move that we approve the construction inspection agreement with ENG in the amount of $98,225 with a contingency of $11,775 for a total project funded amount of $110,000 and authorize the city manager and city clerk to sign the necessary documents.
Have a motion, do I have support?
Support, yeah.
Motion and support, and this is a roll call vote, please.
Member Traver,
Yes.
Member Underhill,
Yes.
Mayor Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Member Cheney Huggett,
Yes.
Member Gates,
Yes.
and Member Hackworth.
Yes.
Carries, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
The only thing I'll add to that is we're anticipating a May start to the project, and it should, if all things go according to plan, which we don't know if they will, but it'll be 10 weeks for final completion.
Now, this is, I'd love seeing sidewalk added. I mean, that I think making a commitment to get sidewalks into places where they haven't been is, I think it's gonna be a great asset to the city. So, thank you.
Is that gonna be a complete shutdown or is that just, they're doing like one lane at a time?
It'll depend on the phase of the construction, and then now that we have an approval, we'll work with ENG and the contractor to develop what are those final plans and what are those impacts, and communicate with the neighborhood to say, at this phase of the construction, here's what those impacts will be.
Yeah. Yeah, I was curious as how you're keeping the neighborhood involved and updated so that they know where the process is along the way without being surprised.
Yeah, so hopefully, some of the weekly updates, you've noticed some of the communication that's come out of the Public Services Department with those dedicated letters for those impacted residents. And those will continue, especially as these projects come to fruition.
Using just trying to look at this, is it on the north side or the south side? They're thinking about that sidewalk. They're gonna connect to the current one already there, or is it gonna go on the other side?
On the south side.
Other side, okay.
It'll be kind of like where,
Awesome.
right in front of the high school, the sidewalk going.
Yeah,
up
how
the
this puts
hill,
it,
the
okay.
Sidewalk on those, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion, comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, I'd seek a motion regarding, lost track, 13 or 12E. Oh, we did 12E. Oh, we did that. That's right. My apologies. It's been a long day. We did talk after the fact. I mean, it is a good project. It'll be great. 13A, building official appointment, and this is also City Manager Perry. Hello again.
Hello again. Our previous building official, Tim Musser, retired in 2024, end of the year. And so since then, we instated Ralph Welton from McKenna as our current building official. But we have been on the hunt for someone else that could serve the city proper, while Ralph Welton could focus out on Blue Oval Battery Park. I'm sorry, I probably said that incorrectly. And so I'm happy to say that we have found someone who is very interested and eager to start working for us at the city. He has been serving some other communities in the area. He works for Blackman Township over by Jackson, and then he serves some smaller townships around us. But he would be able to serve our needs here and focus on the city. Yes. So what I'm asking tonight is if we could please appoint Brian Powers as the building official and inspector for the city of Marshall.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Seeing none, I think it will be great to have someone dedicated to this area again. I haven't heard any complaints about our current setup, but you know, it's always good to make sure we're covered everywhere. So I would seek a motion regarding 13A.
I move that we approve resolution number 2025-08, a resolution to appoint Brian Powers as the building official and inspector for the city of Marshall and authorize the city manager to sign the necessary documents.
I have a motion support, and this is a roll call vote, please.
Member Underhill,
Yes.
Mayor Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Member Cheney Huggett,
Yes.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member Hackworth,
Yes.
and Member Traver.
Yes.
Motion carries, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, 13B, we have a appointment to the Marshall District Library Board of Representatives. And it is my recommendation that we reappoint Gerald Marshall to the Marshall District Library Board for a 3-year term expiring on March 31st, 2028.
So moved.
Motion, do I have support?
Support.
As a voice vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We then have 13C, which is the Brooks Nature Area Advisory Board appointment. And I am recommending we approve the appointment of Christy Benson to the Brooks Nature Area Advisory Board with a term ending on on August 15th, 2026.
So move.
Support.
Motion support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same motion. Motion carries.
Just a note for the record, I think we attempted to correct this last time when Patty Hawk Meluish was reappointed. Her spelling of her last name is wrong and it's still incorrect. So.
Well, we didn't actually take any action on her, so. Thank you. We will endeavor to get that fixed. 13D is our airport board appointment. And my recommendation is to approve the appointment of Glenn Shaw to the airport board with a term ending on October 1, 2027.
So moved.
Motion support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then 12E is our South Neighborhood Improvement Authority appointment. And I am recommending the appointment of Emily Kelly to the South Neighborhood Improvement Authority for term ending on December 31st, 2028.
So move.
Support.
Motion support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That moves us to item 14, public comment on non-agenda items. Persons addressing city council are required to give their name and address for the record when called upon by the mayor. Members of the public shall be limited to speaking for a maximum of 2 minutes. Does anyone wish to address council on non-agenda items tonight? Mr. Adams?
Mary Wayne Adams again, 622 West Green Street. looks like this past week, the death knell was rung for the electric vehicle car industry. Trump has axed a $5 billion charger development program nationwide. 144 million was supposed to go to Michigan. That's out of the question now. And then another $500 million was cut out specifically in Michigan. That was supposed to be directed towards EV battery development and solar fields and battery storage centers and semiconductor facilities. The mega site factory is never going to come off the ground. The EV car industry has flopped. It's the only thing that'll ever be is just selling a small number of cars to entitled individuals who think they're important because they can afford a supposedly green car. But the word has come out that there is nothing environmentally responsible about electric vehicles, lithium processing, EV battery processing, solar panel processing. There's no resale market for an electric vehicle. Nobody wants to buy something where they're going to have to spend another $20,000 for another battery in another year or so. So you guys should have thought that a couple of years ago.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Anyone else wishing to address council on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. Maggie Emerson Rich, 616 Union Street. I've talked to you guys, a couple of you guys already about this issue, but I wanted to go on record tonight to say that I'm hoping we don't get marijuana dispensaries in our town. Having moved here from a town with dispensaries, I can tell you how distressing it was to live in a town with the marijuana dispensaries. Once they open, property crimes are surely going to increase, which I'm glad the chief has a couple new officers on duty, because again, we will have an increase in crime, that's assured. And I understand there's money to be made there, but I think that that money will kind of be awash with the trouble that it will bring. If you stand outside a marijuana dispensary, it's not the best people that are going in those places, and I personally don't want them in my town. I think that I really love what we're doing for the kids with the skate park, and I think it would be kind of dangerous to bring marijuana dispensaries in the town, because that's going to give the kids a slightly easier access to get marijuana. And anybody that's read a book knows that young people, when they're smoking marijuana, it screws up their brain and it doesn't develop properly. So I'm hoping for the sake of the kids, for the sake of the crime, for the sake of my well-being, my wife's 10-year sobriety, we moved here specifically because it said in the charter there weren't going to be any marijuana dispensaries. And I understand, you guys have the power to bring it, but I hope that if you do consider that, you do have some discussions with the townsfolk, because I can't imagine I'm the only person in the town that doesn't want a dispensary here. I mean, marijuana is right down by Firekeepers. It's a quick drive past the Blue Oval, and there it is. But again, we're gonna have that increase in property crimes, which I'm not a fan of, and I personally don't want to smell it. So I'm just hoping that moving forward, you guys have some transparency, bring the community in, have some open houses before you make any real decisions. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address council on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move to council and manager communications. Member Gates?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Member Hackworth?
Nothing tonight.
Member Traver?
Nothing, thank you.
Member Underhill, welcome back.
Thanks. Nothing for me though.
Member Shane Haggett?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
City Manager Perry?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Wow, we're going on.
I'm got nothing either.
Okay. Yeah, there's not a lot to, we're actually in a little bit of a lull right now with the cold weather. There is an event, the 80s, 90s bash coming up at East End Gallery on March 1st, but I think that's the only downtown event happening between now and our next meeting. So other than that, I do see some warmer weather on the horizon, so Everybody should warm up soon. With that, I will seek a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We are adjourned.